I think at this point, we are collectively setting a new standard of music and entertainment for the region.
How did you meet Quincy Jones?
I get a call from my cousin Max in LA. Hey, Quincy needs a drummer. I said, Quincy who? Right? And then he said, man, you crazy, Quincy Jones. I said, Quincy Jones, you need a drummer. He said, yeah, he got this place called Q's Bar Lounge and the Versatility Hotel in Dubai. And I said, wait a minute, stop. You it's too many big words happening. Dubai, Versatility, what is happening? It's about to get even crazier. People have no idea.
Hello. We all know that Dubai is one of the best places in the world right now to visit. Luxury holidays, breathtaking architecture, an overall impressive scene to come visit, or better yet, live. But above all of this, though, what matters is that people are entertained. And oh boy, here the entertainment industry is buzzing. For live music lovers like me, this is going to be a special conversation because we're going to be talking with the leader and drummer of live musical band V4texx that has the residency at the Hotel Palazzo Versace, Dante Kennedy. Hi, Dante.
Hi.
I feel like on the intro, I just touched on the tip of the iceberg that you're the leader and drummer of V4texx. Can you just tell me, what are you doing? Because I know you're operating on different scenes in Dubai, and not only Dubai, in GCC.
Yeah.
And a few of the things that I've seen on Instagram that you do. But maybe you can just kind of put it together. What exactly are you doing? It sounds like a lot.
It's everything. It's literally everything. I think at this point, we are collectively setting a new standard of music and entertainment for the region. Businesses now, when they work with us, they have to shape up and do things a little bit better than how they used to, because we're now building an army of phenomenal musicians and singers of all nationalities that understand that it's okay to be with us because we're going to do good business. And of course, it took a while to get to this point, but the consistency is what has mattered with the stuff I've been doing with the government, the stuff I've been doing with all these different venues to provide entertainment. So because of the consistency, everybody sees. And now it's like, he's not crazy. It's working.
And like I said, it feels like Dubai right now is buzzing in so many different dimensions. And entertainment is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
The more people come, the more quality they demand from entertainment as well.
Yeah.
And that is something I captured when I was at Q's Lounge, when I saw you guys play, jam, vibe, and just being a witness of that was absolutely incredible. So I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
And before we go into what you do now, I'm just curious, could you just walk us through your upbringing? Where you're from, what you did, what formed you, and what got you to the point that you're in now?
Well, I'm from Philadelphia, Philly boy, the home of brotherly love, as they call it, with the Will Smith and Kevin Hart and, all those amazing people, Jill Scott, Music Soul Child, Jazzy Jeff. I come from a very, very musical family where my father is a producer, songwriter, Grammy Award, like nominator, and my mom's a singer. My entire family is in the music industry. My cousin is the president of the Grammys, the Recording Academy. His brother, Max, is the reason how I got involved with Quincy and Quincy's productions to come to Dubai. But I started playing drums when I was a baby, started reading music at 5.
So who inspired you to go for drums?
My dad.
I wanted to say, I feel like I saw something on Instagram where you said that your dad was a drummer as well.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, my dad's a drummer. But everybody in my family plays some sort of instrument, or they sing or write songs. Something, somewhere, somehow, somebody's doing something musical with an instrument and a song.
So you have a very joyful family gatherings.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I remember growing up, my grandma would be on the piano in the living room while everybody's eating dinner, or at my mom's house, it was the same way. Everybody was very musically inclined with something.
And I saw also that you released some music yourself as a singer. So are you still looking at yourself more as a drummer, more as a singer, just overall a musician? Where do you feel yourself the most?
You know, I've had this conversation with my family and my cousin Rodney, and he was telling me like, Tay, man, you're going to have to eventually come off the drums a little bit. Or my family back at home was like, hey, man, so you're not really singing so much. You're doing more of this and that. But honestly, I like to be more well-rounded with everything that I need to do, specifically because you have to be. You cannot just be one-dimensional with whatever it is that you're trying to do. You have to know all facets of what it takes to make it in different sectors or different professions. So for me, when I first went out on tour, I ended up tour managing, stage managing, drum teching, helping out with the guitars, helping out with the lighting. Like, I wanted to learn everything, but it wasn't because I specifically asked some of those things. I was just kind of put in a position because I was there. So certain people weren't able to show up. I just stepped in and just did it. So coming here, I have such a respect for people who do everything.
Multitasking.
I know everybody's name, and I greet everybody every day before we do the show at Q's. I say the bartender's name, I say the lighting guy's name, give it up for this person, because they are just as important as the artists and the musicians who are going to perform. So yeah, I try to make sure that I know and do everything, not just to be a drummer. Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about when was your first break, maybe. So you started with drumming and you were in this musical kind of environment.
Yeah.
When was the first moment you were like, okay, I've been seen, or someone saw me?
If I can go way back, so I don't know if this was like a really, really big break, but I made a record on my dad's MPC 2000. It was like a drum machine with a floppy disk. You had to load the sounds up and program everything. From there, I produced a record for a group out of Delaware called Diplomats for Christ. They were like a gospel rap group, super cool. And we made it on the radio. I was 13 years old, but of course there was no Instagram or Facebook, so you can't really capture that. So if I go to school and tell them, they're like, oh, Dante, you're lying. I'm like, no, I'm serious. It's on the radio. But from that moment, locally, my brother and I, we danced with this group called, his name is Ty Tribbett. He has a group called Greater Anointing in the Christian gospel world. And we would come out and dance on a couple records. So everybody knew me as a musician, as a dancer, but being a teenager and going on tour, yeah.
So you were dancing on those groups. Okay.
Yeah. We would come out and dance on a song called No Way.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is well-rounded indeed.
Yeah, we did that for sure. And then the touring was when my cousin Manny and Omar asked me to go on tour with Travis McCoy from Gym Class Heroes. He had the song Billionaire with Bruno Mars at the time that was going crazy. So we did so many tours, all the Jingle Ball tours with Miley and Jason Derulo and Fifth Harmony when they were first starting. Like, we did like 4 or 5 years of that and a bunch of TV shows and stuff.
And that was as a dancer?
No, that was when I went to drum teching and playing drums for Travis as well.
All right. Wow. That's awesome. And can you walk us through how was that phase in your life?
Woo.
Just touring around with super megastars.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I remember on one of the bus tours we did with Fall Out Boy, Pete Wentz had a band. I forget the name of the band he switched it to, but it's interesting. BB Rexa was a part, but this is before she was solo. This is so crazy. BB Rexa was a part. So it was Pete Wentz, BB Rexa. I forget my guy on the drums. He's really, really nice guy. I think his name was Chad. Travi, his group. And we were just on bus tours going from city to city for months at a time. And I remember being in my bunk next to Trav's room and Pete Wentz coming in and talking. And I was like, yo, this is so crazy.
Oh my God. And how is your family looking at this? And what kind of maybe relationships do you have within family?
Yeah.
Is there any, healthy rivalry between, who's going to make it in the music? If everyone's in music, everyone wants to get, have that breakthrough.
I've never been asked that one before, but I love to touch on that. So I remember growing up in church playing drums, my cousins and I used to kind of tussle on who's going to play the offering song, who's going to play the praise and worship song, who's going to play this song. And we would be lined up in the front row waiting our turn to get on the drums. But growing up, okay, So I mentioned my family's in the industry. However, my cousin Mike Nelson, he's one of the guys who I was sitting on the front row with. But then he ends up playing drums for Wiz Khalifa. And he's still playing for him, like I think almost 10 years now. It's killing. So Mike is on tour with Wiz. My cousin Manny played for Anne-Marie and Kenna. He did like some stuff with NERD with Pharrell. My cousin, his brother Omar, he is the music director for one of the biggest girl groups in the world called Blackpink. And he's literally the MD for Live Nation over there. He's killing it.
So everyone's thriving in their own direction, it sounds like.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Awesome.
My cousin Manny just signed another record deal with one of his bands. So when I say our generation is just trying to make our family proud.
Absolutely.
And we talk in group chats every day. We love each other and we just push.
And talk about a little bit about faith, because I've seen on Instagram you talked about it as well. That's a big topic. Let's put it that way. Faith. How has that been throughout your life?
Whole life.
Yeah?
Yeah. My grandfather was a pastor. My mom is ordained minister now. My aunts, like everybody's involved in church somehow. And that is my foundation, even being here in Dubai, that is my foundation. My band is like that. We fast, we pray together. And one thing I love about Dubai is that it is accepted to be who we are and believe in what we believe. And what's interesting is that growing up, my two first best friends were Muslim. So I was 6, 7 years old. My family would do Thanksgiving, but I remember their dad was like, you can't go in there and eat yet until they finish their praying. Or when I would go to their house, I would have to wait till they finish before I go in. But the families, it just taught me how to be well-rounded and just respect people at a whole nother level. You know what I mean? Because those types of ethnicities and relationships and people, growing up where I come from in Philly, you have a couple of choices to either learn from your surrounding and not be involved with certain things, or learn from it and be involved. But for me, I really just wanted to dwell on having a better understanding of people.
You know what? And Dubai is so great for that, because there's, the diversity of every culture possible.
Yes.
I actually Googled the other day how many cultures there are in Dubai.
Wow.
And there's 200 different nationalities.
Yes.
Sorry, not cultures, not nationalities. And in world, there are 206. So, it's almost covered in Dubai. And I feel like most people here in Dubai are very open-minded, because if you go back into some of the places, I'm from Latvia. So, there are a group of people who will be reserved when they see a different culture, a different nationality. They will take it takes them time to warm up to something new.
Yeah.
Whereas in Dubai, I feel like everyone comes in like just open-minded.
100%. Yeah.
Do you feel that too?
I do.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the first times I came here almost 8 years ago, I remember telling my pastor, I said, it is the most amazing thing to see that on Fridays between that 12 and that 2 p.m., all the guys and their sons going to go pray. I said, can you imagine if we did this in the United States, how much more peace could probably be in certain regions, because people want to operate with a different perspective of understanding and self-awareness.
And do you think also, we will not go into, social and politics and all of that.
Sure.
But do you think that living here, you see it differently than most people around the world? The
100%.
narrative is so different about Muslims, about Middle East itself, right? So you come here and you see the warmth and the dedication to the faith and everything itself. Right?
Yes. Yeah. And you have to be. Dubai does not allow you to come here and think that how you have it back at home is going to be how it is here.
Yeah.
You have to be open-minded. There's no Democrat, Republican. There's one man. And if you wake up tomorrow and says, this is what we're going to do, this is exactly what's going to happen immediately.
Yeah. And as long as everyone's happy, they can stay, and they always have a choice to leave. And it's kind of, there's a free choice for most people, right?
Yeah.
Let's go back to your story.
Sure.
I wonder at what point did Dubai come into the scene, and how did you meet Quincy Jones?
Yeah.
And when did you get this offer of coming to Dubai and starting Q's?
2018, I was working for a company called Sneaker Villa that turned into DTLR. The specific store I was in Chester, PA. I worked in Philly at a few of their stores, but I left the flagship location to go to DTLR because the managers thought I would be a good fit for this location because the guy who was partnering with the company, his name was Jalil Beats. Jalil Beats did all these crazy records for Jay-Z and Nicki Minaj. Like, he produced a lot of great songs. So they said, oh, Dante's in music. He's touring with these people. Let's put him and Jalil together. Perfect. So I'm in Chester. I got there sometime in April, May. By August, I get a phone call, and I'm still touring on the weekends, but I get a call from my cousin Max in LA. He said, yo, hey man, I got an opportunity for you. I was like, what's up? And I'm behind the register. He said, hey, Quincy needs a drummer. I said, Quincy who? Right? And then he said, man, you crazy, Quincy Jones. I said, Quincy Jones, you need a drummer. He said, yeah, he got this place called Q's Bar Lounge and the Versace Hotel in Dubai. And I said, wait a minute, stop. You it's too many big words happening. Dubai, Versace, what is happening? And he said, do you want to do this opportunity? You will leave in 3 weeks for rehearsals in LA and then fly, and your first show is September 11th. And I was like, whoa, hold on, wait a minute. Let me Google some things first. I call you back. I Google Dubai because you've always heard of it. But
of course.
You hear of it, but in passing, not like I'm about to do all this research because I'm going. So I'm looking it up. I'm like, oh my gosh. Quincy has a spot called Q's Bar Lounge in a Versace Hotel. I could live in Versace Hotel for 3 months. What? So I call him back. He said, all right, cool. You want the gig? You got it. Quincy needs to see you play every genre of music. I said, what? All right, cool. So I gather myself. I
Challenge
go home.
accepted.
Right. I got my studio. I go in my house and I'm just shedding records. And I'm like, I'm going back to when I was younger because my dad would have me practice different genres of music every day after school, Monday through Saturday. So Monday would be jazz, Tuesday pop, Wednesday R&B, hip hop, Thursday could be rock, Friday could be whatever high energy record or fusion, Saturday would be rehearsals, Sunday I'm at church or whatever it could be. So it wasn't like I was new to different, because there was one time in Philly I was playing for a rock artist, an R&B, neo soul artists, and some other people. So I was already used to it. But this time I'm like, shoot, I gotta really tap in. This is Quincy Jones. I sent my information in, sent in the video, and they was like, he loves it. Send Dante. He's gonna be great. I was like, what?
Oh my God.
So yeah, I got the stamp and approval of Quincy. So it was interesting because my I was going with this guy, Rogelio Douglas Jr. and Ash and Aspen. They all lived in LA, but they told me I had to fly there. I said, y'all can't fly me out. They said, no, unfortunately you have to be from LA. And I said, all right, cool. So I paid for myself. I flew to LA and then did the rehearsals. And then we all flew from Los Angeles to Dubai.
All together.
All together.
What did your family say when you said, I'm going to Dubai? That's not like, going to another state. That's going all the way to Middle East. And I know you have kids as well. So how was that? What kind of conversation was it at home when you had to bring this information? Yeah,
my babies were younger at the time and they were used to me touring.
Okay.
And being out, you know what I mean? And it wasn't like I was going all the time, but enough for them to be like, all right, well, daddy's going back out on the road. Mm-hmm. He's going this place and Dubai for them was New Jersey or New York. They don't know. They don't know that it's 15, 16 hour flight.
Yeah.
So they were supportive. My whole family was like, well, you're crazy if you don't go. I called my district manager and I told him, I said, listen, I got this opportunity to go to Dubai to play drums for Quincy Jones. I said, however, I want to make sure I have a job when I come back home because these opportunities are amazing. However, if I can't support my family when I come back, it makes no sense to go. I'd rather just stay here and just hope for the next one. So my cousin Max told me, he said, all right, cuz, well, if you can't do this one with Rogelio, there's going to be plenty more artists. You can go after Ro with somebody else. And I was like,
perfect. Nothing to lose, really.
Nothing to lose. So I was like, at this point, I'm going to just go. So I went. My church said it was fine. I talked to my pastor about it, my family, and everybody gave me their blessing. It was like, you got to go. It's Dubai. I was like, all right, I'm going. And I went.
Perfect. You know what? You came 2018. I came 2017. So we've been here basically the same time, 8 years. And Dubai has changed massively. And I know people have been here for 20 years. And I mean, for them, the change has been even bigger.
100%.
How do you see, when you came and now, how do you see Dubai? Is it different? I mean, it's developed, but for your own, how do you see it?
I see it in such a different way now, because I always tell this to my artists when I fly them in to do residencies. The first 30 days are very, very important to being open-minded. So you have the Burj Khalifa, you got Dubai Mall, you got the Desert Safari, Skydive, Dubai, like all of this stuff, Atlantis. And it messes with your reality a little bit. You know what I mean? Because Dubai is such an incredible place. So you come here, you're like, oh my gosh, where am I? And then depending on where you are at for a residency, if I'm like, fly to Dubai, you're going to live in Versace Hotel for 3 months. Oh my God, Versace, the curtains open. What is going on? I get to go downstairs and queues. We are the world signers on the wall. And they're like, Dante, where am I? So that is the perception. Be here past 30 days where you have to live and get a visa, medical. Like now you're talking about the reality sets in and it's like, oh, okay, I see what this place is. This is hard work. And I said this to somebody the other day. Dubai is not a place where it's going to hand you anything.
Yeah.
You got to come here and make it. So when I was here the first time through the residency, it was cool. Came here 2020. That was a crazy experience, but we were here for that. But
so you stayed here while the whole COVID was happening, or did you go back, or what was the situation? Because you couldn't do anything publicly,
no, we couldn't do
right?
anything. So we got here the day Kobe died. I just know that for a fact. We left. It was the day he passed away, and it was just like the world was just like, what happened? The airports were quiet. I've never seen anything like that ever. We land. We bring cues back to this incredible state, as what management told us. No shade to anybody who was there before that time. But we were doing really good numbers. It was really, really great. Quincy Jones' birthday, March 14th. They said, okay, Dante, we need to pull you into a meeting. There's this thing called COVID. We heard it's getting people sick, but it might be going in 2 weeks. We're thinking about shutting down on Sunday. So you guys can either go home Sunday or we can wait it out 2 weeks and see what happens. I said, well, we're contracted for another month and a half. We might as well just stay. If it's going to last 2 weeks, fine. We should have got on a plane.
Yeah.
Oh,
for
my
sure.
gosh. If it wasn't for Instagram and social media for us to see what was happening outside of Dubai.
Even worse.
I was like, and people said, oh, you were living in Versace at the time. I said, you have no idea the mental state. First of all, it was 3 musicians. I had brung Jake Morelli, Jeff Smith from Philly. Rahilio was singing. I was on drums, music directing. We had like 2 concierge people, somebody at the front desk, somebody in the kitchen, 2 families, and the entire hotel. It was just us. With the curfew, the app, you got to put in your phone. You're going outside. You got to be in by 7. They're disinfecting the streets at 7:01. It was like, I remember walking through Festival City Mall to go to Carrefour, and we would just slowly take our time because all of the stores was closed. We were just looking in like, oh my gosh.
Oh, I remember that time. I remember that you had to press something on the app to actually go to groceries, and you could do it once in 3 days or something.
Yes.
So you felt like you're in a little cage in the apartment. For you, imagine big hotel.
But they closed off a lot of places. Like we couldn't, I remember at one point after the first month, they closed off queues. So they said, we're closing queues tomorrow. I said, oh my gosh, let me get in there. I need to get some drums. I cannot just be in this room doing nothing. So I would walk around the hotel sometimes with the mask on, the gloves. And thank God it was on Al Jadab behind the hotel. They have the creek. So I was able to run.
Okay.
I lost so much weight. Just running for mental, not for health, but just for my mental. It was so hot outside too. But I was like, I just cannot be in this room all day.
Yeah.
So I was reading. I had even signed up to do online courses with Yale University at the time. Like I was really trying to force myself to be mentally occupied so I don't go crazy with seeing that. In Philly, they was fighting over toilet paper. The shelves was empty. I remember my wife had showed me a video of her and my son in the supermarket, and it was nothing there.
Oh my God.
I was like, and and this really bothered me as a provider for my family. I take family so serious. As a provider, not being able to protect them, not knowing if somebody would hit them over the head for a water bottle. I remember telling her, do not take my son to the market. Leave him home. But then my daughters were home. They were too young to watch their brother. This was 2020, so he was 5. No, thank you. So imagine being 7,000 miles away and you can't do anything.
Oh, that feels like the helpless state that you're in, right?
Oh my gosh.
But you sound like a person that even if you're stopped, let's say for COVID, but even if you're like stopped to do what you're doing, you kind of tried different ways to keep going.
Yeah.
Did you ever have that moment where you were like, get depressed, get blue, or do you always, come up, let's go, let's do it? Or what? Can you talk about your personality or what kind of, as a personality, what kind of person you are?
I have a strong belief in good integrity and good character. And I really try to push with that every day. My dad told my brother and I growing up, you're born with 2 strikes against you. You're black and you're male. That 3rd strike is your name. People are always watching you. I never forget this stuff because, and I tell this to my band, we have to really, really watch and be guarded with how we present ourselves to people on this stage, off the stage. And I'm not perfect. There's been times where I've been on the stage and I've had to put the glasses on because my face is showing that I have an attitude because the sound man just did this, or the keyboard is messed up on this, or even I did something that messed up a portion of a song because I'm like, come on, Dante, you know better. You know how to do this. So in that instance, it's kind of like people are always looking to see, like V4texx right now, we're at a place where every day there's another brick added. I don't want somebody to come and just kick that thing down because, Dante, we saw you. You was cursing out the taxi man. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, you never know. It could really just be that easy. So I really just try to live every day with a new sense of stillness and peace because this is really at the end, that's what we have.
You sound very self-aware. Like even when you have these moments where you don't feel your best self, it feels like you know that you're not, that you're not at the best self that you could be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I was just thinking about self-awareness, how often, even moving countries as well, that kind of gives another depth to how we understand people, ourselves, in different environments.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about cues. So 7 years later.
7.
You said 3 months. And how did it happen that 7 years later, you're still here?
Oh my gosh.
And you're the only one from the original recruits, right?
Yes, musician-wise.
Yeah.
Virgilio, however, that man done moved here and had a baby, got married. He has started a life. I'm so proud of him because that 2020 year, I remember he and I was walking around the creek just like, how are we going to get home? This is crazy. And then we would have conversations about family. He would see how much on the drums, even now, my daughter will call me when she gets off the bus. And I have a position where we're in a way where the audience can't see my phone. But she calls me just so she and I can connect for a few minutes while I'm performing or whatever. And he would watch that stuff and be like, Dante, you are just consistent with your family. And I'm like, you have to be. Being 7,000 miles away, there's so many families that are easily separated because one parent or the other are not as persistent with their kids as they should be. You know what I mean? So I never want my kids to feel like I'm disregarding them because of a country that I have to work in. Because quiet as it's kept, before I came to Dubai and got this job, I spent a year and a half home trying to find work at home and couldn't. It wasn't until I was running around my neighborhood. I was praying, doing some meditation and stuff. And I remember I messaged one of the general managers. He was head chef at Palazzo, Mansour. I said, Mansour, hey man, I want to talk to you. And he just sent me, all right, brother, we'll talk tomorrow. All right, cool. The 9-hour difference. So I'm like, shoot, I got to wake up maybe 2 a.m. and text him and not 11 a.m. because now he's about to go home. All right, cool. So I messaged him early in the morning, wake up. Mansour, you got time to talk today? Yeah, brother, call me in an hour. Now it's 3 a.m. for me. So I'm trying to call him. Then now he's in a meeting. So I said, listen, man, if I can't get you on the phone, I'm going to just show up to Dubai. He laughed, sent me laughing emojis. I said, that's all I needed to see.
There you go.
A week later, I was in Dubai.
Wow.
I flew there without him knowing. And I still have the video on my phone of me sneaking in. He was in the gym. And I told security, I said, where's my sword? He was like, Dante, you're back. I said, where's my sword? He said, he's in the gym. I said, all right, cool. I went in the gym. He said, brother, you're here. I said, I'm not playing with you. I need to talk. Yeah, man. So
that is motivation.
Yeah. And I planned 15 meetings in 7 days. And I got the job as Palazzo's first ever entertainment and music director by day 2.
By day 2.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And so in these 7 years, other musicians have been coming and going, right?
Right.
How does that work? How often do you have, these freelancers, I guess, freelance musicians coming in for 3 months, or how does that work?
So the first 2 residencies, the Ash and Aspen came with us from LA. The 2020 residency was Jake Morelli and Jeff Smith from Philly. After that, when I got the job, one of the requirements, because there was so much, so I'll just say this, it was a lot of difference coming back that 2021 year. So they told me I had to get local musicians. So I was in Philly at the time, and I remember going like, how am I going to find local musicians for Philadelphia coming out of COVID? So I found this Dubai musicians page. So I was just scrolling for like hours. Came across this one video. I found this guy named Manny, and Manny's been with me the entire time, almost 8 years now.
And who?
Since 21, so almost 5-6 years.
And what's his role in the band?
He is the leading keyboardist of the V4texx band, but I now just took him from Q's and put him in our new venue, Adeline at DIFC. Yeah, he's now the band leader there, performing 5 nights a week and doing a phenomenal job.
And how do you manage to be in all the places? Adeline and Q's both have sets every day, or
yes.
How do you have a teleport? Like, do you go to one and then jump on the other?
Oh my gosh! I just told my daughter last week, I wish there was a teleportation thing I could just go through. But literally, all right, let me just give you a quick breakdown of what my days, because I literally work 8 days a week now. 8-9 days a week. That's what it feels like.
And so when you moved here, it was first just Q's. And so it has picked up in different directions.
Yeah. I've worked with a lot of different venues. Mainly, a lot of the venues that are here for live music, I've talked to their CEOs and management and help construct and give them a program for what it looks like. However, Q's is home. That's home. That's always going to be home. I don't care what comes. That's going to be home. Reason being is because, we can talk more about the Quincy stuff later, but that's my responsibility at the moment is Q's and Adeline. Those 2 are my babies. And I say that in the sense of taking full control and ownership of the responsibility that's been given to me to produce longevity of music and jobs for people. So my weeks are Monday, I try to let that be for me. That lasts maybe an hour.
Oh, an hour.
Tuesdays, we have Adeline. I have my band, V4texx band there Tuesdays. Wednesdays, we are at Q's. Thursday, Fridays, Saturdays, the same days basically are the same performance days. Adeline's Tuesday to Saturday. Q's is Wednesday to Sunday. But the problem that I'm not really facing, but I'm kind of curating in a interesting time way. I'll go to Adeline first, go do the show at Q's, come back to Adeline.
Oh.
Yeah. So my Fridays are like that for sure. And then I'm done at Adeline, maybe 1:30, 2 a.m. And then if we have special events, I go back there to reset the stage, just to make sure everything is conducive for the next day of performers.
And so do you have time to do those extra different events? And I think you were mentioning something on Instagram about also operating in Saudi Arabia. Is that like on sort of individual basis? Is there also some sort of club? In Saudi, tell us more, because a lot of people are like, Saudi?
Yeah, Saudi's amazing. I love Saudi. My business partner there, Yaya, he is a gem. Really, really incredible guy. And he worked for a company there and gave me an opportunity to do a residency at a restaurant in Diplomatic Quarter called El Burrito. So I then bring out, again, Jeff Smith. He's great because he knows the structure of the company, along with this guy, Kendall Lewis, my cousin. He drummer for Mac Miller and so many other people. So I really tried to give them some hitters. And Jeff was just playing piano for Lauryn Hill. So they said, Dante, we need some good musicians. Cool, I got you, right? And I bring out a singer from Atlanta. So I put together the situation. They did the residency up to Ramadan 2024. And Yaya and I have been curating different spaces and venues for live music and entertainment. And now I'm working with a company called Smile Entertainment, who normally does comedy shows. They were the first company to bring out any type of person to do a comedy special in Saudi. So I've been working with them because now they're branching into live music. They came to Q's. They saw me there. We connected from that. And we've been building what that looks like in Saudi.
And do you think, it sounds like you are both kind of participating, but also managing. Do you think eventually you'll lean into management more?
Yeah, it's happening now.
Yeah?
It's happening now, forcefully.
Forcefully. So would you prefer to go do your craft, or are you enjoying the new kind of ways of
You know,
working?
at this point, I'm going with the flow. Just taking the natural course of what this looks like. Because I have to take a break. Like, I'm almost at 1,000 shows in Q's in June 20th. 1,000 shows is just crazy.
Insane.
And that's just Q's. We're not talking my career before Dubai was even on my radar. And what else I've done? The government told me I'm one of the most performed drummers in the country.
Wow.
They said, you're probably the most. And I was like, don't say the most, because
I wouldn't be surprised.
There's somebody else here who's been playing a lot, and I don't want to take that. That's like saying the greatest of all time. I can't do that.
Okay. Well, wait a little bit longer maybe. But
yeah.
I wanted to touch on a little bit on your activism that you actually started talking about it at the beginning, that you not only want to do your projects, but you want to elevate the whole level of entertainment industry in Dubai.
Yes.
How has that been?
Oh
like, I'm just wondering, it's different, Dubai is different from West in many ways. Activism as such, it probably looks different here than it does in US or even Europe. What are your plans, and what kind of what was the initiative or impulse in you to do it?
Well, my first residency, I came here and observed, and I didn't come here for the money. I didn't, because I was still getting paid from 2 jobs at home just from vacation time I never used. So I was like, I'm gonna go to Q's and still get paid from home. But we were invited one night to my mentor's house. His name is Reza Jafar. He helped build Palazzo, and he's the one that did the partnership with Quincy to build Q's in Palazzo. We were at his dinner, and he said to us, he gave us a story about this company he has called the Global Sustainability Network. And basically they are helping to end modern day slavery, human trafficking, and do some things with job creation, sourcing that stuff. So he said this story about this 12-year-old and this 9-year-old girl who were sold for like $100 for healthcare. So
where?
The father kid sold his daughters for $100 so his wife could have medical attention. Ugh. My daughters were 12 and 9. I was like, there's no way I can listen to the story and not be a part of this initiative. So Reza made me a member. I started interning and just listening and just working the grounds. This is end of September. I got here September 11th. So within 2 weeks, I was working. Just not making money from it, but just because I just had a heart for people. So I'm going through all of this stuff, and then I'm here all these years, and I'm really seeing that the business side of what's happening here regarding entertainers and these companies, they're not lining up. So the last year and a half, I've been heavy with the government in these conversations, but for the past 5 years, actually, we've been, my friend Ali and I, we've been really focusing on how do we drive this narrative forward to make sure that the foundation is firmly built now. Like, it needs to happen, because someone in tourism told me, well, we didn't expect people to move here and want to make a career out of music. We thought they come here, do a show, go home. I said, well, now you got people who want to retire here from music and who are leaving their country to come here for safety and thrive. Now we have people who are dealing with that, who are like, oh my gosh, this place, it wasn't what I thought. I'm going to go back home. Or people who are here like, oh, I need this resource. This is lacking. So now we're trying to see, how do we piece together those narratives to make it more conducive for everybody? So with my experience back at home, all the touring and stuff that I've done, and just understanding more of the business now and how to deal with some of these companies here, because there's some interesting thinkers, my political answer. And we just have to make sure that we narrate the space correctively. So I've even reached out to Paul Pacifico. He is the CEO of the Music Commission of Saudi. He is doing phenomenal things. I reached out to my cousin Harvey with the Grammys. And he has a guy here named Taymor who is facilitating the Recording Academy stuff in the Middle East. And just seeing like, how can we put together something that is very, very necessary for Dubai? Saudi has great finances and resources and all these amazing things that are in place to outsource and drive whatever operational tools for the region and for people who live there to succeed in music. Abu Dhabi has the same things, but the nightlife is not 100% all the way there. A lot of people who go there for nightlife are like, well, we're just going to go back to Dubai. Dubai has everything.
Exactly.
Why do I feel like we're in last place a little bit when it comes to our music scene?
It's interesting because I feel like Dubai, people from London, from LA, a lot of people actually are moving to Dubai because Dubai seems to be the it place right now for many reasons.
Yeah.
Tax-free zone and all of the other things, real estate, a lot of things. Yeah. But it feels like there's some industries, that are still picking up to this new scene of extra audience that you have, millions of people moving here. And how do you find kind of pushing this question? Is it quite difficult? I mean, it's a big question, so it probably shouldn't be easy. But
it is because it's something that is an issue for 20, 30 years. Like you think, well, we just did 50, 52 years or something like that here in this the Middle East here in Dubai. I mean, but musically, if we talk about the foundation of how it was forbidden regarding music, and there's a video my friend BG Muhammad, he showed me. He said, man, I got a video of Abu Dhabi rappers and Dubai rappers meeting somewhere in the middle of the desert to just freestyle battle rap.
Beautiful.
I have the video. It's incredible. This is early 90s.
I actually want to talk about this a little bit more. And I want to talk about you and your band jamming together. I mean, it was so mesmerizing. Like when we were there, my husband and my husband's parents, and we were all just kind of hypnotized. And it looked like you were like kind of blending together the sounds and yourselves and everything. Yeah. It was just magical. Is that every night like that?
Yes.
Do you have the capacity and energy to be like that every night?
Ooh.
Or is there nights when you're like, okay, let's take it easy. Let's have some slow romantic music.
All right. So, that's a great one. Sundays and Wednesdays could be a slow night. What I do for the artists, I'll tell them, hey, so for the first set is band set, second set, and the third is with the artist in the band. And I'll tell the artist, well, look, we only got a couple people. So what we'll do is we'll play some more band music. You get some more vocal rest. I bring you up. You do a 30-minute set, make your night easier and shorter going into your next off day. It's understanding the room. Sometimes we get guests who just want the wine, some whiskey, whatever it is, and a cigar. And they don't want to hear, you know what I mean? That's Friday, Saturday energy. Okay, we understand. So for those slow nights, I remember telling management a few years ago, our demographic of audience is changing, and we have to be able to understand from a hospitality standpoint, how do we take the conversion rate of people who are coming in now and diversify what we're doing with music? So what we do is, I'm looking at each table, and I say this every night before we start the show. Each audience member has a different ear taste, right? So how do we put together a show that they may like? And it's like, we just take a chance.
Do you improvise? Is
100%.
that? Oh, really? So
Every
you
night.
don't have like a list of songs that you're gonna do?
We do.
Okay,
We do, but we can take a Dua Lipa record and make it neo soul or make it as she created it.
How do you do that? Do you tell that before the song?
No,
or?
so I can tell the band.
You're all like kind of energetically connected, so you feel already what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. So right now we're doing this one record, "Believe" by Cher, and you can either go, you can do really pop, or we make it into like a nice ballad, right? So we got it in this ballad form, and AJ gets off his guitar, he plays a saxophone solo, and he holds this note for almost 10 minutes. And it is beautiful because it gives us a break. But it wakes the crowd up. I remember last week I told him, I said, AJ, I need you
to do that 10 minutes.
10 minutes. He said, Uncle Tay. I said, come on, bro, I need you. He said, all right. We did the song and the crowd was like, oh my gosh. And it was like, cool. And that's how we ended the first set. So now people who may have thought, oh, we're just going to leave after the set and go home, everybody stays because we leave that set on such a high note where it was like, it's almost like a football coach, basketball coach just trying to call certain plays for where he sees. So I am literally surveying each table. I'm looking at what they're ordering. All right, he got peanuts and they got water. That's a nice bottle. So they're going to be here for a little bit. They just sat down. They just took their order. They just got their champagne bottle. I'm time management. I am literally studying what people are doing. They think I've always been the one to observe my surroundings. So literally playing, I do not just play drums. I am managing way beyond, oh, we're going to do this song next. No, thank you. We have to build a storyline based on the people.
Wow. That sounds intense, like mentally intense to be doing. First of all, being a drummer and having two different rhythms on both hands, for me, it seems like
yeah.
And then on top of that, managing and observe, that
100%.
sounds like multitasking, like in 1,000 different directions.
Sometimes I have to put the drumstick in my mouth. I bite on drumstick. I'm playing with one hand. I'm on the computer. Now, people will say, oh, you up there sending emails? I was like, no, I'm getting ready to the break music. So I pull the music up on a playlist. I got the iPad next to me that I'm controlling the sound. And then, all right, guys, thank you so much. Boom. We'll be right back. Cue the music, fade it in, mute everybody's instruments, walk off stage, take our 30-minute break, come back up, do it again.
Wow. Tell me about maybe some interesting or crazy audience you've had. Because it's a bar, people are drinking. And I assume the first set is different from the last set.
Yes.
And I assume people are on holidays and they get loose. And I remember when we were there's some people who, cigars and, just feeling the music. And is there any stories that pop out in your memory?
Man, let me tell you, I'm security in there. I'm security. Now, we do have security. They come in on the weekends, check. But it's more so like at the end of the night, they just kind of see, oh, we got, all right. But sometimes I tell them, it's okay, right? There was one time we had a phenomenal worker named Wasal. There was some drunk guys sitting in like the corner. So this is the drums. They were in like the back wall. She was serving their tables, but something happened and it got a little rowdy with her. I'm getting off the drums and we're going to make sure she okay. There was another incident. These guys were trying to fight a security guard. I got off the drums. I stopped the show mid-song. I told them this is not this type of venue. In more kinder way, this is a place of peace and entertainment and family and fun. We're not going to have that here.
Yeah.
However, I wasn't smiling like this when I said it, but I could turn it on very quickly for people to understand that I don't play games. And that's what people understand about Q's and why, while Quincy's family, while my cousin Max, the production company for Q, Reza, all of these people in the management of the hotel, they understand I take Q's very seriously. That is, you do not take any opportunity like that lightly. Any opportunity you shouldn't take lightly. Even being here with you, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I'm late. This guy took 12 wrong exit turns. Like, it was crazy. But some stuff we can control, some stuff we can't. but what are you going to do with what's given? So yeah, I take that place seriously. And even this past Sunday, I wasn't there. They told me that there was a gentleman who jumped on stage with his wife at the very end of the show. His cigar fell on the keyboard. Ooh. He was drunk and cigar smoke everywhere. And of course, the keyboardist can't play. So they were on the last song, but they just ended like 2 minutes early. They had to.
Oh,
yeah. People.
Has there been a positive story where someone all of a sudden from audience asks if they can sing or something? Would you allow that? And, and all of a sudden there's this beautiful voice, and you're like, "Whoa, where did that come from?"
Yeah, that's happened quite a few times. My friend Nutsa, she was on American Idol 2 years ago. But before she was on there, she came to Q. She wanted to do a residency. I brought her up on stage. She killed it, right? There was quite a few people who were in the audience who I let sing really, really good. We was like, what is happening? We need to talk after this. But then there's some people who's like, they look at me, Dante, why did you let her sing? Why did you let him sing, Dante?
I want to say, were there people also who think they can sing? And then it's like everyone's like, oof, awkward.
100%, yeah. I get those all the time. The ones who think they know what they're doing. And, you just encourage them. Oh, that was good. Good job.
Thanks for trying.
Yeah. Dante, have your number? Yeah, you can.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It sounds great. And what do you think? What will happen in the next 5-10 years? Or just what's your plan? Are you staying here?
I'm staying.
Yeah.
I'm not going nowhere. I'm too deep. I'm in the middle of the ocean now. I'm in the middle of the ocean with my life jacket and building my boat piece by piece to make sure that we just keep thriving the way that we need to, because it doesn't end here. Dubai was the place that catapulted the vision, but it's literally the hub. When I say everybody comes through Q's, I don't care if the venue seats 80 to 90 people, standing room 120, whatever it could be. Everybody comes to Q's for some reason. And all these venues in Dubai are incredible, but there's no place like Quincy Jones Q's Bar and Lounge.
I will agree with that. I will agree with that. Yeah.
And musically, what we're able to do there with the freedom that I had to fight for us to be able to get to be creatively expressive. Yeah. It has allowed us to have so many opportunities. I'm doing a hotel in Italy. I just sent the follow-up email about that yesterday. We're doing that next year. Few places in Saudi again, the Bahamas, Atlantis Hotel. Like a lot of stuff are yielding just from Dubai. I'm staying here.
Awesome. Okay, and we'll end up on the last question that I ask every guest. You already given actually quite a bit of lessons that you've learned, or lessons that someone has given you. But if you'd have to give me one situation in your life where you had that moment of, whoa, okay, now I get it, light bulb moment, aha moment. Can you give me one story?
One of my first tours, I was able to, I was teching. We were doing the show, it was like 20,000 people. It was all the Mileys and Sean Kingston and Katy Perry. It was all these great people. We were doing a show, and it's for Jingle Ball, for Q102 back in the States. And my cousin, he mixed up his flight information, right? And I was just teching the show. They said, Dante, we need you to play drums tonight. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, no, we need you to play drums tonight because missed his flight. He's not going to make it. I had to go to Travis McCoy's room, right? And tell him, hey, man, I play drums too. He only see me work because I'm not up there showing off on drums like, oh, I can do this. No, I went up there, doom, 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 let me turn this, let me fix this. And I did my job. That's it. My uncle always says, stay in position. You never know, like, when that time. My first tour show was in front of 20,000 people. I had no rehearsals. I had to convince Travi that I could do it. The management was nervous. Oh, we don't know if Dante could play drums. And I was like, I got you. Man.
Patience. Waiting for that opportunity to come and catch it.
45-minute hour set. Get off stage. Travis was like, oh my gosh, you're my bro. I can't believe this. And then management was raving about it. Next, I did a couple TV shows. We did all of this stuff. But the aha moment was like, you just never know when it's going to be your time. And I had prayed for that. I remember being younger with my cousins who were on that tour. We would be in the basement shedding on our instruments, like, yo, we can't wait to play in front of all these people. It's like practicing a half-court basketball shot for $1 million. If you ever get called out of the stands to shoot, that was my opportunity to take the bull by the horn and show them I can do this. And that moment of just being ready just let me believe, like, you just never know when. So being in Dubai now, taking this opportunity, I just want to do the best that I can for everybody else, even for me. But right now I'm so focused on making sure that everybody else is okay, that my mental is more at peace when I know all my musicians are happy, my singers are pleased, and giving the opportunities to people because of the hardship I had to go through, making it easier for them. That's so much pleasing than anything.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I heard the other day, and I'm thinking it sounds like you're a living proof. And someone was saying that, when you're doing work that you're passionate about, then you get tired physically, but mentally that actually keeps you going and energizes you. Whereas if someone's doing a job that they don't like, mentally they just, that keeps draining. Do you feel like that energizes you and that, you're living your purpose and you're going, the direction that you're meant to go?
Yeah. I feel like I'm in my purpose now and I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to mess it up because it's too much at stake. It's too many people who are depending on me for a job and resources. And we're at a place now where I think a few years ago, I sourced 85 musicians. Last year was like 75 or 80. This year, we're almost tripling that, and it's only April. And we have so many venues, and people are going to Adeline and Q's and saying, who's doing this? And, oh, that guy. They're like, well, how? Aren't you still playing? Yeah, I am.
Awesome.
But now, it's about to get even crazier. People have no idea.
Okay, there's a lot of things in the pipeline that we don't know about.
Good.
I actually want to continue talking to you, but I know you actually have to run. And we will just wrap it up here because I think it's beautiful. You have so much in the pipeline. So I'll tell everyone to follow Dante Kennedy on Instagram. And I actually think that if you're a live music lover, but actually you don't have to be necessarily a big music fan. You will be, I don't know, you'll be mesmerized when you'll see V4texx in their action. It's absolutely amazing. So, V4texx in Palazzo Versace. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.